Hi there, we're in the Bitcoin Wyckoff session, and as usual, together with the weekly Wyckoff update, resistance and support levels, there's a new element that I have introduced to the other altcoins, but not the big four yet. So today, when we go through the big four, I'll put Wyckoff into the daily context as well, because one of the members in our community requested, like, can we do it at a lower level timeline? That's perfectly fine. And one more thing, however, is when we look at the daily chart, the movements are restrained or confined by the movements in the weekly chart. So be sure when we look at the daily Wyckoff stages, it's within a larger Wyckoff stage on the weekly chart. So let's get started. So here we have the pose upwards of the distribution stage, and previously we talked about, okay, this green support line currently at around 104,000 roughly, and that's where it has been, or the price has been the battlefield for the past few weeks between the bulls and the bears. And you can see the price found support this week, at least for the time being. It hasn't gone below the green line yet. So what about resistance, given that we are currently at a level that's even higher than the upthrust, right? So this blue line here, the upward trend that started almost, I would say, you can track back all the way to fourth quarter 2023. So the ceiling over here of this moment is around 130k roughly, 125 to 130. So that's like a theoretical ceiling based on the upward trend. And then the support line besides the green, that's the orange over here. The orange is around 91k roughly. And of course, if we move further down the timeline, the support would be this blue line first before it hits the orange line that we touch on. And this keep rising along with time. So that's how it looks like in terms of weekly at the moment. And if we look at the daily, after we talk about all these Wyckoff and resistance level, here, there we are. So this light, I don't want to move it. So the light blue box, I've extended it if you compare it to the previous session, because I want to find a cross section, basically this area, like these triangles. So those are likely the breakout time frame. Likewise, we have not the top, but here. So basically, when we get closer to the end of this month, and then also near the end of November, not exactly the year, like late November. So depending on whether the price has gone below this downward trend yet, if it hasn't, if it's still trading within this range, like it started in early May, so over the past 2 months, basically from early May to where we are now, the price has been trading within this range or playground zone. So given this context, if it continues to trade within this slightly downward trend, then by the time we get to later this month or late November, there will be chances of some sort of more wild fluctuation, like either breaking to the upside outside the blue box over here, or it's going to break some of these red support lines. So currently we have 103,000, 97,000, as well as 91,000 for the pink box. The pink box is where the upthrust was, or probably the buying climax as well. So yeah, 2 peaks over there. So after these trends and resistance level, the interesting part is the Wyckoff on a daily timeline. So let me borrow one of the Wyckoff tags from another asset, and let's quickly put it in. So I've covered it many times in the previous sessions. Putting Wyckoff analysis onto a weekly time frame, I think it's the lowest level time frame that I would do. If we go any lower, the chart is basically too busy and too noisy that the error rate is going to rise. Even with a daily chart, it's already getting very tricky. But anyway, since one of you have asked, so let's have fun. So I've copied the buying climax tag, and let's drag it to where we want it to be, right? So if we look at the chart, so basically that's probably where it should go. And then obviously you know there should be some sort of preliminary supply period, PSY, not the Korea famous Gangnam Style PSY, just the preliminary supply. And after the blind climax, that was this red long candle was the automatic reaction, and obviously there was a second test, and then sign of weakness, and this may be, or what looks like, an LPSY, and we're having another one as well. So it looks like we're going through this distribution phase as of this moment. And then tracking back to what happened between like February all the way to April, we have obviously opposite as the selling climax. So the tricky part here is whether we put it here or we put it there. So if I look at this, I would incline to put it here and then add the automatic rally over here because of this crazy green bar. It's also fine to put it here, just that be careful with looking at the next events, because if we put it here and automatic rally here, you can put the sign of strength here as well. So on this chart it doesn't affect much, because if it doesn't happen that way, so if it doesn't have two peaks and you put the automatic rally over here, and if there's no second peak, we'll probably miss the sign of strength. So for this chart, I'll put it in a way like this. So we had the selling climax. Well, actually, yeah, since it has two peaks, I'd rather put it here, because the fluctuation here and these large candles, I would rather say this was actually the preliminary support period. And then we have the selling climax, automatic rally, sign of strength, and then I don't want both, I just want one. Subsequently there was a spring, and eventually we have these backup and last point of support level, LPS. So that's how I would look at it. It's a little bit subjective, I agree. Sometimes we have to make our own judgment calls, and that's how I look at it. Currently, by looking at the daily chart, I'm hoping to see a drop from the distribution cycle, and then try to see whether there's like a start of an accumulation again. That's where Bitcoin is right now if we are trying to put in the Wyckoff analysis over there in the daily as well. So hopefully you liked this new element, and